Alright, so officially the first progress video, and as you guys see, this is the account stats. I got it wrong, it was a My Fun and Futures account, not alpha, but so this is essentially the first progress report, and we're pretty much going to do one video a week going over every single trade, and we're pretty much just going to start this week from Thursday and on, because we started this series Thursday. So he took one trade yesterday and no trades today, and resulting in a $1,316 profit. And what is the profit target? 3K for this? Yeah, 3K. So this is the current progress on the account. Here's proof. I mean, if you want to scroll down if you want, but this is pretty much just the My Fun and Futures dashboard. So yeah, and I feel like you did do a good job by sizing relatively heavy, making 1.3K. So I guess we will get into kind of the thought process. I'm pretty much going to ask you what were the thoughts behind the trade and everything in that sense. So yeah, let's get into that. Alright, so pretty much he's just going to explain the trade he took on Thursday. I'm going to sit here and listen, and then once he's done explaining, I'm going to critique it and pretty much say why it was good, why it was bad, and pretty much just analyze the trade. So, get going.
Okay, so we dumped off market open. My draw on liquidity was the new week opening gap. We were displacing towards it. I was looking for my entry, and three good retrace here and a flip that didn't take out the internal low. I took an entry, and here's how it played out right here. Boom.
Okay, so although this trade played out, I don't like it, to be honest. Essentially, bro, kind of what I see here is you just chasing price, right? Scroll up, or at least go the 5-minute time frame, and just look at the leg prior. Bro, do you see how you had that entire, you had that entire leg to try to catch an entry, but when do you decide to try to catch an entry? When we're at the very bottom of the leg, and you were just chasing price. You are chasing price, because you could easily get retraced on. And yes, I agree, it is confirmed we are going to the draw, but it is never worth that risk, chasing it all the way that close to the draw and that low when you had such better entries way above, right? You obviously missed the good entry, 5-minute closures up top there, and then you decide to just chase price all the way down below and then scale down to the 1 minute again. And you rock a extremely small stop loss and then go back to the 5-minute. So you see how we never edged that 5-minute gap. I mean, we never hit that 5-minute gap there.
Yeah.
Okay, so two things I do not like about this trade. One, I think it's like I said, it's overall sketch shorting that low in price when you have blatantly missed your entry. Your entry was higher up in that leg, and overall, it's never bro, you couldn't, because see, we edged the 5-minute gap and you could easily get retraced on there. So in my opinion, it is never worth that risk, and using that small of a stop loss when we have a 160-point move down and we're moving with extreme volume in New York with rocking that small of a stop loss, I don't think it's a good trade. And I think the biggest thing is, even if you do take a winning trade, there's always lessons to be learned, right? So the two things I took out of this were, I mean, yes, draw on liquidity was correct, but you go back to the 1 minute or just the 5-minute. Why did you not take an entry higher up in that leg, you see where we actually flip up there?
See, I just didn't. I looked at the 1 minute and I really didn't love it. I mean, I never really scaled out to the 5-minute to see how good we actually looked. And on the 5-minute, I mean,
in my opinion, that's a pretty clean 5-minute entry on that third 5-minute candle there. I feel like that is when we confirm it, but then we just keep going lower and lower, and at that point, I do feel like you're chasing price. And one thing I preach, one thing I always say is, if you're just entering when price is overextended, or just chasing price when it's right next to the draw on liquidity, and probably the thought process going through your head was, all right, I'm not going to miss this trade, I need to catch this trade, it's a strong draw on liquidity, when in reality, right, you missed your entry up top, and what if that what if that trade you took, boom, just retraces to the 5-minute gap that we edged, and now it stops you out with your tiny stop loss. And why? Now you're already down on the day because you chase price, because you FOMO'd in to just try to catch the trade with the draw liquidity. So like I always say, if you do not catch an entry that's like the reasonable entry when it's actually farther away from the draw liquidity, then just stay out, because I've done this before when I was like more beginner. I would just miss the entry and I would see price like inch away from the draw and then just take a trade. Like FOMO went on a mid entry, and more times than not I get retraced on, and with like the small chance where it just goes to the draw liquidity like it did here, like you got away with it here, like you got away with chasing price with a small stop loss. But the chance where we actually do give a retracement, right, like you get stopped out and then now you're just sitting there like, why did I chase price? I obviously missed my entry and it's not worth the risk. So although this played out, I still do not love it. So I mean, this was the only trade you took pretty much this week, right? Well, I guess we started this challenge yesterday, but like this was it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, with the 3K profit target, you're pretty much relatively almost there. Let's just give him the opportunity, and I'm gonna ask him kind of any questions on if he's confused about something, why, like, do you agree with me, do you not agree with me? Just questions about this trade. So do you have any questions about why that trade is bad, or maybe a possible entry above and why was that good or bad? So what questions do you have?
Okay, so obviously I agree with you. I could have found a better entry on this 5 minute and we didn't hit the 5 minute gap. But if I were to take an entry off, say this 5 minute candle here off this close, how would I properly manage my risk on this trade?
Which one? Which
like
5 minute gap?
Say I were to take this execution right here.
You're still chasing price, bro. You're still that is not, bro. Like the candle you'd entered on is one previous, bro. That is when, okay, right? Because like I showed you the videos, I taught you my model and the way I trade, and the basis of that is when the retracement leg is invalidated. Like, yes, it is invalidated with that 5 minute candle close, but still, like, you have to rock a negative RR with that fourth candle closure. So in my opinion, bro, what are you doing? But like in my opinion, right, that third 5 minute candle closure does invalidate the retracement leg. What are you doing with your tool, bro? But like, right, because like, and you're asking why, like, and how to maybe like risk because you have to rock like an 80-point stop loss. Is that kind of what you were asking?
Yeah, like would I scale down to micros?
Okay, yeah, that's actually a good question. But so typically I always trade minis. But I mean, like a case scenario, like recently, if you've kind of seen November price action, we have been moving with a lot of volume, which is great. It is amazing. But that means you definitely have to pay more attention to the risk you're putting on, because previously you could have tossed on like a mini, 2 minis, 3 minis on a trade, and it would not that be a big of a deal. But if you tossed 2 minis on this trade, you're like, oh my gosh, with like a proper stop loss, it's 60 points, and that's ridiculous, right? So something I do is, I mean, do you like can you like mental math it with like 1 mini? Like, do you know how much you're risking if you have a 40-point stop loss?
No.
Okay. So this is like I feel like I thought everyone could do this, but like I just mental math it. Like I know if I'm risking 1 mini and my stop is 30 points, that's $600. Like you just times it by 2, right? 30 times 2, 600. 40 times 2, whatever, 800. And like you just add a 0. So I just know how much I'm risking, and I can just mental math it when I throw up like the projection tool. But right, so like if you have to rock a bigger stop loss because we are moving with a lot of volume, then yes, you can scale down to micros and just risk accordingly, because especially on prop firms with consistency rules, right? Like, and you need to stand under that 40%. You obviously cannot risk maybe a mini if you're like, because then you need to be risking like 1.4K, right? So yeah, like if you have to rock a big stop, just scale down, and you can do like 7, 8 micros, and that should be like a good size. But yeah, and then besides kind of just risking on trades, do you have any more questions? Because I know you're kind of curious about which candle invalidates it, but like what other questions do you have?
Nothing. That's really good. My question was risk management, because if I like say I were to take an entry here, and with 1 mini, like right here would be hitting my consistency rule, and like
Yeah.
I can't even hit full TP on that trade because
Yeah, I mean, I also have like a base rule, bro. If that, bro, because blatantly with like a proper stop loss, I feel like that trade is literally negative RR, and that is like a telltale sign that you're obviously chasing price. If you see a strong close and then like it's just already cooked, like you put up the projection tool and then like the proper stop loss is like literally negative RR. It's like that. It's never worth it. So, and especially where you took that trade, I'm agreeing with you. It's a strong draw, but in my opinion, like a higher up entry was definitely way cleaner. Like on the 5 minute there, I think that's pretty close. I mean, that's pretty clean. And yeah, bro, like always, you're chasing price at the bottom of the leg, and it's just never worth the risk to get retraced on. So if you have no more questions, then we can now turn off the charts and just talk about a few more things and maybe next week. Good?
Yeah.
All right, to cap off essentially week's 1 progress, let's just kind of go into what are you thinking next week and what is like your strategy to pass evals, because like I think you should trade evals a little bit more differently than exit phase. But what is your strategy when looking to get funded and pass your first? It's your first eval. So what's like your strategy?
It's my first eval. I've never really been on the funded stage. I mean, obviously I risk heavy because it's an eval. There's a high profit target, but I've never been funded. I don't want to lose money. I mean, I don't have the capital to like risk on all these evals.
So you're saying you're broke and you can't like afford to blow like a ton of accounts?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what's your strategy? You said risking heavy, or are you be scared to risk heavy because you're broke, or what?
I'm not scared to risk heavy because I'm confident in my trades.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best way to approach evals. Like, I look at it as always drawing liquidity, right? Because if you have just like this is how I approach evals. If you have a good idea where price wants to go, drawing liquidity, right? Then I am definitely a bit more loose on entries on evals, because if you were to wait until that perfect A+ trade shows up, bro, like you're not going to get it every single day. And I look at evals as an ROI, and obviously you cannot make money on evals. So what's the point if you're going to wait weeks on weeks to wait for that perfect setup? Like, it's not really worth it, man. So I look at it as definitely be a little bit more aggressive, risking relatively heavier. Even if like you have no money to your name, bro, it will just be a toll on your psychology if you're taking $300 risk on evals. Like, it's so cooked. So like, I would say just advice on evals. When you have a good idea where price wants to go, draw on liquidity, like just be a little bit more loose with entries. Like I would say again, like you just showed on that price leg, like once we kind of confirmed to that low in a sense with like that 5 minute flip there, then like you could literally just enter that, because you know like you have a good idea where price wants to go, and you can just rock a big stop loss and it should play out. So definitely risk, not like over aggressive where you're blowing your account in one trade or like 2 trades, but enough to where you can make like at least 1/3 of the profit target like you did there. You made 1.3K, although I didn't love that trade, but still you made 1.3K, which is essentially like a little over 1/3. So evals, risk relatively heavy, and just be a little bit more loose with like, I'm not saying just take anything, but like once price is confirmed to draw on liquidity, just throw up a shot. But yeah, so do you have any questions about this week or anything going into next week?
No, I mean, wasn't a crazy week. 1 trade. Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you can definitely pass it next week if you lock in. But I mean, good progress. I mean, bro, if we can get funded by next week, and then possibly 2 weeks down the road, build up the balance, get some winning days, this could be a 3-week challenge. But again, it all depends on you. If you actually do the right things and not be an idiot. So I guess you guys will see in the... Oh yeah. So like I said, I'm doing 1 video per week, and this is essentially like the first real progress update. So next week it will go over pretty much every single trading day, all the trades that were taken, and then obviously the progress on the eval. Did he blow it? Did he pass it? Yada yada yada. And again, I will critique trades like I did here, but for everything next week. So pretty solid progress. Yeah, hopefully can get funded next week, and then boom, get on the XFA. So, you got any last words?
No, that's it.
All right, well, like I said, boom, subscribe if you want to follow this journey, broke, bum, whatever, to funded, and then getting his first payout. So with that being said, in the description, my TikTok, Instagram, my Discord, where I teach trading for free, doing calls every day, and if you want to get accounts with Alpha Futures, code Jack will get you discounted in the description. And with that being said, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.